In 1999, Daisuke Imada, otherwise known as Pixel, started developing a game in his free time. 5 years later, on December 20th, 2004, Cave Story was released for free on PC. Since then, it has been released on tons of consoles. But today, I will see if this game has held up in the past 14 years. Hello, today on Lego's Game Corner, we'll be playing Cave Story. A group of researchers go to a floating island where the Mimiga live. One of them, named the Doctor, finds an object known as the Demon Crown. He then turns two of his research partners, Sue and Igor, into Mimiga. Soon afterwards, a robot by the name of Quote wakes up in a cave and finds what's left of Mimiga village. The Doctor, with both the Demon Crown and some red flowers that turn Mimiga ravage, plans to take over the island and use it as a battleship to take over the surface world. It's now up to Quote to stop the Doctor from taking over both the island and the surface world. Cave Story's gameplay is based off of early 80s and 90s run-and gun games like Mega Man. One of the things it does better than most games is, instead of having a tutorial, it makes you figure everything out in the first 2 rooms. Upon starting the game, your eyes would probably draw to the floppy disk and monitor. You then press every button to figure out what these two do, and then you figure out down is the interact button. You find out that the monitor heals you and the floppy disk is the save. With this information, you can now leave the room. You try going to the right, but you run into a wall, so you go to the left and you come across the first enemy in the game. You press every button and no button fires, so you think, I can jump on it like in Mario. You try that and then you get hurt. After avoiding this first enemy, you then find this heart capsule thinking, maybe it will heal me. You get your first life up. You then continue on, dodging enemies, and you find this pool of water. If you fail to jump across, you'll land in it and you'll start seeing an air meter. You realize you can drown. So after finding a way out of the water and jumping across, you come to another door. You go in it and you take a weapon from an old man. You can now attack enemies. Now with your first weapon in hand, you can shoot that wall and continue onwards. You then see a door and jump straight into it. It then hurts you and you realize there will be enemies disguised as things that can come out of nowhere. You then kill it and continue on. Cave Story has a multitude of characters, and a lot of these characters actually have character. Surprising. First, you have Quote, the playable character. He's a blank slate. Curly Brace is another robot. She's very caring towards the Mimiga, but not really towards anyone else. You do befriend her near the end of the game. After giving her memory back, you find out that her and Quote were actually warriors robots sent to kill the Mimiga. Change of heart much. Sue is one of the researchers who got turned into a Mimiga. She doesn't really like you at first, but she warms up to you towards the end of the game. Sue has a brother named Kazuma. He's a terrible character and I'm not going to talk about him. Cave Story has great music, yet now it's 8-bit music. And then there's Cave Story 3D's music, which is more orchestrated, and then you have the Wii one, which I don't even know what's wrong with that. Some of my favorite songs are Eyes of Flame, Geothermal, Hero's End. final battle. I would really recommend giving these songs a listen, like the entire soundtrack, and I would even put it on my iPod if I had an iPod. I mean, it's 2018, people. I want an iPod. Give me an iPod. Editor's note from post-production and script changes. So I didn't find about this until after writing the script, but in the Switch version, Redunculon, the people who did the music for The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, did remixes of this, and needless to say, it's some of the best versions of these songs I've ever heard. In the day and age where the most important thing to everyone is graphics. Oh, this game has the best graphics in the world. It's 4K. It's like, what does it really matter? I am one of the few people who really don't care. So to see something like Cave Story, which is meant to look like 8-bit games from the past, makes me so happy. This game looks beautiful. Bright colors, nice looking visuals. I don't care, oh, it looks super realistic or in 4K. Well, it's dirty and it looks pretty ugly to me. So I think Cave Story is one of the better looking games, even though it's 8-bit. Wow, just deal with it. From here on out, we'll be talking about the endings of Cave Story. So, Cave Story has 3 endings, 2 of which I will be talking about in this segment, and 1 I will be talking about in a later segment. The first ending revolves around you and Kazuma, Sue's brother, if I didn't mention him earlier, escaping on a baby dragon and fleeing the island. You guys don't know what happened to everyone else because you don't care. You lived in silence the rest of your life. This is the bad ending. The good ending takes more work as you have to do 3 extra areas and 3 extra boss fights. The first boss fight is Misery, one of the Doctor's henchmen. Pretty easy. All you gotta do is shoot at her, past her shields, and these lightning things. Pretty easy. In the next phase, the Red Doctor has made this red crystal out of the red flowers, so it's up to you to kill him and stop the red crystal from doing whatever the hell it does. This is pretty easy. He'll use the red crystal as a shield, he'll teleport the room and shoot some things at you. Pretty easy, but then he goes all ravaged because of the red crystal, I'm guessing because the gummies do, and it's pretty much the same thing, but he jumps around more and he does some more damage. After that, some blocks appear and you continue upwards. Misery tries bargaining with you by using Sue as a hostage, but then the Doctor's soul comes out of nowhere, possesses both Sue and Misery, and possesses the core of the island. This is the final boss to most people. This boss is really hard. The core will shoot lasers and other things, while Sue will fly around the room attacking you. Yeah, it's not very hard. You can kill her, and then you have Misery, which you can also kill, but she constantly spawns enemies, which almost always give you at least 1 heart back, so they're a good source of life. He has some of the highest HP in the game, but it's possible. I mean, it's possible. It's hard, but it's not as hard as another boss fight we'll be talking about later. After you beat him, the island starts to fall apart. You and Sue jump off the island and are caught by Kazuma. You guys then go back to the surface, but something doesn't seem good about this. Things seem good, but the island still crashes down. So, innocents might have been killed. Is there a way we could have stopped this? So I'm the type of person who likes completing games 100%, and oh god, Cave Story is a hard game to 100% complete. There's 3 endings, I talked about the first 2 already. To get the best ending, there are some requirements you must meet. First, you must get the Booster 2.0, which lets you fly around in 8-ish directions. You must get this tow rope before fighting the core, and take Curly to this cabin and easily drain her of water. You fight the extra boss Mob Hagan and get him to Curly, who then gives you the Iron Brace. You then get up to the point of the good ending. When everything is starting to crumble, You then go into this little cabin, and you are locked in this cabin. The only way out now is to get the best ending. And oh god, this next part is really gonna be a lot. The final area of Cave Story is the Bloodstained Sanctuary, or it was called in the original fan translation, Hell. I don't know which one I'm more scared of. This area is really hard. There's these falling blocks in this room. There's these angels shooting arrows all around. Some of them big angels are throwing blocks at you. One hit kill spikes. 4 bosses in a row. Oh, by the way, there's no checkpoints. So, that's great. And then at the end, after fighting through tons of it and 1 boss fight, you then have to fight the final boss, which has 3 forms. Balos. Balos, the true creator of the Demon Crown, the person who this island was made to conceal. You must beat him for the Demon Crown to go away forever and to stop the island from falling. He wants you to kill him or he will kill you. He has 3 phases. First one, he dashes around the room and does some lightning strikes. Second phase, he turns into this ball and jumps around the room. You shoot his eyes out. He then gets 8 more eye things around him. You shit them out. Then platforms come around. 4 more of them reopen. And then spikes come out. Angels come down everywhere. And you're shooting stuff just everywhere. And you have to constantly shoot him in the eyes. But once you finally do it, it is so satisfying. And it took me almost a year and a half to beat him. So has Cave Story held up in the past 14 years? I think so. It has great gameplay, visuals, music. Almost anything you can ask for. Besides a little bit of a character thing, and it could be a little bit longer. But I think so. I mean, that's why it's on my top 5 favorite games of all time. So I've been Lego1upmushroom, and next time we'll be taking